everybody, to another edition of the In the Paint Show, episode 174. Happy holidays to everybody. I'm here with my regular co-hosts once again on this episode, Chelsea Hopkins and Umana. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, Ronnie. Happy to be back with you guys. How's it going, Ani?
It's all good, basketball, traveling. I just got done taking a nap. Y'all got me out here at 11 p.m. my time, but it's all good. We're here. We're going to talk some hoop. We're going to talk about some money. We're going to have some predictions. Let's go.
Yeah. A lot of money, a lot of predictions. We're shooting on a Monday here. As you guys listen to this pod during your work week, we'll be out on Tuesday the 12th, but we'll probably be, on a break, obviously, because of the way the calendar shakes till the new year. So 224 is going to be ringing in on episode 175. We're on 174 right now. We'll shoot on either January 1st or January 2nd. So, we'll watch us on Twitter, Instagram, that kind of thing. We'll give you guys some updates of where we are, and obviously a lot of basketball at that time. But, this has been a crazy year. It seems like COVID started a long, long time ago. It seems like 8 years ago. Hopefully we get back just to more normal things. 224 will be big, but I wanted to ask you guys, start with you, Ani, what are you mostly grateful for? It could be a basketball related thing, or it could just be, as this New Year's comes really fast. The time's just going by fast.
I am grateful for safe traveling,
yeah.
Especially this year, I done went to a whole lot of places. I'm just glad I got there and back safely. You know what I mean? Especially with a lot of stuff just kind of going on in the world. I ain't gonna lie, I'm just grateful just that I got to places safely. Ain't nothing crazy happen. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
I'm alive.
That's the number one thing when we talk about. You got to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
How about you, Chelsea?
Well, I agree with Ani, because now that I'm starting to travel a lot more, you really, it just getting to and from is something definitely to be grateful for. But I think for me, I'm in a transitioning period, as you guys know. Last 6 months ago, I was still hooping. I was, playing overseas. So, and I was, oddly enough, playing in Israel, who's currently in a war right now. So just grateful for God's timing, and just kind of how he's lined things up for me. I walked out of my playing career into a corporate basketball position with Nike. I get to be around my family. I just celebrated my first Thanksgiving in 10 years with my parents back in Las Vegas. I'm going to celebrate my first Christmas in 10 years. Coming up here at the end of the month. So just grateful for family, grateful for, the things that God's done in my life. And, I really can't complain. I'm happy, I'm alive, like Ani said, and I'm just in a really great space, surrounded by a lot of people that, I just love and enjoy spending time with, including you guys and our pod guys. So.
Yeah, we're grateful for you two guys and then our listeners. So thank you guys for tuning in. On Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. I'm sure some of you guys watch it. Maybe you just listen. But yeah, we're grateful over the years. It's been going on. This is a little longer than we think, but definitely for the holidays. Don't forget about the shop .ballislife.com store. In order to get your order for the holidays, I guess that would be the 24th or 25th. You gotta place your order by 12/15. Just keep that in mind. By December 15th, you gotta place your order. End of this week. We got a lot of holiday specials. Check those out on shop.ballislife.com. You can go to ballislife.com and click from there, or go straight to the shop. There's definitely buy one, get one pair of shorts, 50% off. Buy two pair of socks, get the third pair free. So there's a lot of little things like that. Again, we don't have time to go over all of them, but we just wanted to kind of shout that out. So, as we get closer to 224, but I wanted to talk to you guys about that as far as grateful and things like that. There's a lot of things that have happened, and Tennessee is in the AP top 25, but they're actually 12. Then we'll talk about the NCAA basketball, what we think is going to happen in 224. But back to what you guys said about being grateful. One of their players is Jemai Meshack, and he's from Southern California, and I know his mom and his father played basketball at Bishop Amat High School, Elton Meshack, and he's a firefighter, a first responder. But it's crazy. His daughter runs on the track team at UNLV, and she happened to be in that hall where there was the shooting We even never talked about that, but we're not going to spend too much time on it. Obviously, it was a tragic event, and like you said, it can happen at any time. So I think that's on you. You talk about the travel, and for me, it's like now when I go places, I mean, you guys have talked about that. I'm always watching where I sit, where I stand. I mean, it's never out of my mind anymore. You know what I mean? I guess it's just a reaction to trauma or what we're going through, but I've always been like that, but now it's just every time, you know what I mean? Like it never fails. I'm like, I'm going to sit here. No, I'm going to move here. I'm going to stand here. So he had mentioned that because his daughter called his mother and the mother didn't pick up. And then she was going to call right back, but she called her father. And she said, Dad, this is happening. This is not a drill. This is happening. And then he was telling her what to do because he's a firefighter. And the first question she asked, like, Dad, I don't know where to go. You think about kids and then you think about like shootings. We always think about Columbine or some of those big ones. We always think about kids, right? Like, so if you're a teacher, you probably have an innate instinct to like help those kids, right? Because they're 6 or 7 or whatever, 8. But when you're in a college, the teachers are in the same boat.
Yeah.
If they're gonna get, you know what I'm saying? So you're just like, it's almost a little more like a different vibe. You're most like, shit, what do I need? What do I need to do? Ain't nobody, you're not gonna rely on a teacher, anything like that. You know what I mean? It's just you're not. When you're 20-something, you ain't gonna rely on anybody but your own instinct. So he was kind of because the teachers were trying to get to safety too, and he was like, the dad was just like, don't open the door. Whatever you do. So he was just giving her some advice. And the main thing I wanted to tell our listeners is like, always have your cell phone and then kind of charge. And then she got really beneficial because she can hear her dad and her mom and her dad can hear real well by good like iPods. You know what I mean? So she wouldn't have to be on the phone so anybody can hear. Because, you got to think if some guys with, a weapon or something, you got to make sure you're quiet and your phone's not going off and, shit like that. You got to turn everything off. So that was just something she mentioned and she shared it on Twitter. Like, have a good pair of like iPods and have your phone charged or a good charger, So just something to think about going forward, guys, in this crazy world that we deal with. So going into 224, I want to change the subject to something a little lighter. Want to see what your guys' New Year's resolution is. Let's start with you, Chelsea. Do you got a New Year's resolution? You know what? Come on. Even if you don't, you got to have one. We can
okay. I think in the new year, I want to have more. I want to do more impactful extracurricular activities. Okay. So by that, I mean, I've been overseas. Like, I got to work on my cooking skills a little bit on it. I might have in the future. So I have some.
What she's getting ready for, Ani. I think you got her the fever, dude.
Yeah, I already know what that is. Go ahead.
Okay, so a little cooking class here and there. Sharpen up a little bit. Definitely want to get into more like yoga and just stretching. Like I need to really develop a routine. I'm not a hooper anymore. I'm a hooper at heart, but I don't work out every single day and, have the cardio and the, kind of exerting myself every single day. So I want to get into a routine of, just yoga and cardio and just stuff to keep up my shape, regardless of if I'm hooping or not. And just kind of just reading and just little things. Like I feel like I've had so much free time overseas, but I've always just been locked in on hoop. So now like I'm a regular person and I need to do regular people things and things that could just make me the best version of myself. So obviously health is important and cooking is important. So my kids could have hot meals, my future kids and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to the extracurricular activity. So my New Year's resolution is to get into some things that can improve Chelsea. Simple.
Good. Ani.
My New Year's resolution is to answer text better. Right now, I'm at 1,147 texts.
If they don't pay that invoice,
no, my bad.
Zoom in. We need to see this.
Zoom in, like yo, look, I ain't gonna lie to you. Hold on, y'all can't even see that.
Put it over.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, look at it. That's a real number. That's a real number.
That's 1147.
That's a real number. That's a real number.
Ani, you need to send out a group text. Get those invoices.
Yo, listen, I've been trying to do a better job of it. But like some texts, it'd be like, man, I ain't gonna respond. Like I tell people, if I don't respond, just call me. Like I'm a lot better at answering calls than I am for like text. I'm awful with text. Like
wow,
awful. Like y'all hit me.
And so
I'll
you
respond.
text me back. So
Yeah, I'll text you back quick. But like there's probably about y'all are in that like rare group of
1%.
yeah, that 10% that I respond quick to. Other than that, nah, I ain't responding. No text.
wow.
Just call me.
That's great. That's great.
So I'm gonna answer text. Like I'm gonna read the text and I'm gonna answer. Like or I'll just like like it or dislike it or whatever the hell emphasize it. But I'm gonna answer text better in 224.
I love that for you. What about you, Ronnie?
I'm in Ani's boat, but opposite a little bit. So I'm really good on text. So the coaches out there are really thankful that you guys text me back. I'll text like rapid fire to a bunch of people and just trying to get record or hey, did that game get snowed out or the rest didn't show up? That kind of crap happens all the time, as we mentioned on this pod, all over the country. At least once or every other week, there's some goofy thing that happens. The bus breaks down or something. So I appreciate everybody texting me, but I'm the other way. I don't really even have my voicemail set up no more. I don't set up my voicemail. I'll just call you back. I don't answer the phone sometimes, so maybe I got to do a better job of like answering the phone and like just being more punctual and engaged to that. You know what I mean? Because if you hit me on text, I'll get back to you. Because I'm bad. I cut people off their small talk and it's not getting to what I want. So maybe being more conscious of what people's feelings and what people need. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, if it ain't on my like schedule, I'm moving on fast, bro. So I'm just like moving forward. So I got to work on that. And my resolution would be, it's basketball related. Is I'm trying to Ryan Silver from West Coast League kind of got me thinking. He's like, Ronnie, don't drink Red Bull. And people have said that before, but for whatever reason, for him, he has some credibility because he's lost like 40 pounds and he's in much better shape. And he was never a big dude. So when he told me that, I was like, yeah, I really need you to stop. Like, I need to stop drinking these things. You know what I mean? So like, I'm on I just more water, more, I like pineapple juice. So hopefully that's better. But yeah, try to cut those out. So if you guys see me drinking one, like, tell me, Ronnie, you're tripping, whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna just
snatch it from me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to be drinking. I don't need it. And I don't need it. Just, hey, sleep better, do whatever it takes. So that's just something for me to work on. So we appreciate the personal touch from you guys for our listeners and whatnot. But something that is a big news and big money. And we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, Chelsea. And it's Shohei Ohtani's baseball contract from the California Anaheim Angels, now with the Dodgers. Just going cross town, basically. $700 million. Don't even seem real. Like, it's just $700 million. Like, the reason I say that is like the Timberwolves, when they entered the league, I think it was like $80 million. And I remember it's a big deal when Kevin Garnett's contract with David Falks started that lockout in '98, and his contract was more than what the Timberwolves were worth when they entered the league. And it was like 10 years later, it was a huge number. So his contract was whatever, 180 million. That was like, oh my God. The NBA was going to fall apart. It seemed like this money was getting too big. Then we had a few after that, Alex Rodriguez had a huge baseball contract with the Texas Rangers, $252 million, about 20 years ago. And a few others, Patrick Mahomes. But this seems way big. So, Ani, what's your first reaction? And then Chelsea, that, and then we'll talk a little bit about it and just kind of like, where are we going with this and what does it mean?
Yeah, I was like, yo, just give me like 1% of that, dog. Like that's crazy. Like 700 million is nuts. Now,
nuts. Yeah,
I understand. Like, I don't follow baseball. Like, like I know he bats and he can pitch. Like, he's high level. He does, but that's an insane amount of money. Now, I did hear like his contract's kind of structured a little weird. Got to read about it some more. But that's impressive. Like, that's really, really impressive. Like 700 million for one player. Yeah, like I was like, yo, my kid is gonna have to play baseball. Like
And that's kind of what I'm getting at with
you know
you
what I mean?
saying
Like this, like he ain't playing no basketball. Like, yo, we gonna watch all the baseball. I'm investing that. Like that's a crazy number. 700 million is a crazy number for a contract. I don't care if it's 10 years. Like that's a crazy number.
Sure.
70 million a year.
That's a big number. 70 million a year. It's bigger than a lot of people's. Well, not a lot of people's. I'll take that back. A lot of franchises team payroll for this year. It's at least bigger than 5 or 6 teams. So, I mean, again, baseball structure a little different. It's a little imbalanced. It's been like that. I don't know, Chelsea. Do you have anything to add to what?
Well, I mean, I've been following it, and to Ani's point about the structure of the contract, he deferred some of the money, so he's going to get all of the 700 million, obviously minus taxes. But he deferred to kind of give the Dodgers a little bit of room to still sign people. But the amount is just insane. Like it's absolutely insane. I also saw a tweet today that's like he's going to make this in 10 years, and LeBron James' career earnings is like 450 mil, and he's in year 21. So, I like to Ani's point, I do not watch baseball. I cannot watch baseball unless I'm physically there having a hot dog and a drink. I cannot watch baseball at all. Like, but it must be America's. How do they have so much money? Like, what blew my mind is like, how do you have so much money to give to a person? So now I'm going to have to start following and doing a little research because my kids too will be playing baseball.
Well, that's kind of what I'm getting at is with all this, and I love baseball, but I love the history of it. I love playing it when I did. I don't really, like you guys said, I don't have time to follow on a daily basis. I don't have time to watch it. Not if I'm gonna do the pod and do other work and try to keep my job. I would like to follow baseball, I guess, if there was 50 hours in a day, but it's not possible for me. And I'm sure you guys like sports in general. It's not like you hate the game. It's just a little slow and a little boring. So
I don't know. I kind of don't like it, but I'll
do. Adi, you don't like it, Adi? What are you talking about? Adi, you must have got hit with the ball when you were little. That's
I got struck out too many damn times, man. I don't like it.
It's a failure sport. Well, that's the thing about baseball. It's a failure. It's to fail. So when you fail 70% of the time, you're really, really, really good because you succeed 30% of the time. So a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like Charles Barkley saying his commercial. Any jerk can score. He's right. You know what I mean? Like in a way, because he was mentioning in his Nike commercial, you get paid to rebound. I get paid to rebound. I get paid to cause havoc. It was a funny commercial, but it's kind of true. Like if you're 6'9", how hard is it to put the ball in a 10-foot, cylinder? Like compared to like hitting a ball that's coming at you, moving at like 100 miles an hour. It's just a completely different dynamic, So, but I'm with you, Chelsea. So I've been to baseball games. I don't go to as many as I do, but I do go. And maybe it's just because the stadiums are big. It's not crowded.
Yeah.
They're not crowded. The Angels games are not crowded. Dodgers games are very crowded. They get 50,000, 40,000, 54,000 all the time. But that's one team. The Marlins, some of these other teams, we know what's happening with the A's.
Where does money come from? It's TV contracts, but 700 million is still like astronomical. So I can't even. I have to really research it because I cannot even see how this is possible.
No, that TV money crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
The TV money's big. There's a lot of games. Remember, they're televising a lot of games. They don't all have to be greatly rated and watched. They have people are watching there, but I'm afraid baseball's got a problem, or I'm sure they're dealing with it. Like it's kind of like smoking, the tobacco industry. Your old clientele is going to die. The most people that care about baseball are my age and older. We're on our way out, bro. I mean, so my dad has got only so much time left. Like he loved baseball as a kid. Like those are the real baseball fans. 55, your dad's age, Chelsea. 60, 55, 70. Like that's when baseball was like it. People. It was on the conscience. So I think that's the bigger question: is why did it lose its conscience to the American public? We don't talk about it like in the nightclub, at a bar too much. You guys have any thoughts on that? Or is it just because the nature of the season or the other sports are faster and they're marketed better?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the marketing is better, and I think the sports are faster. You look at the NBA where people are dropping 120, 130 points
Yeah.
uh, a game. You got the Pacers, and I think just the storylines are better.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I just think just the baseball is just what it is. It is fun, like especially when
Yeah.
playoff time or when you kind of get into like trying to
Yeah.
figure out who's going to make the playoffs. People it starts to rev up. But I think like when you talk about like football and basketball, like the storylines and just the way the games are played, like it's transformed heavily. Even over the past like 7 to 10 years. So
Yeah.
I would definitely say like it's the way the game's played and just the narratives are just kind of better painted.
Yeah. Yeah. Chelsea, anything to add there?
I mean, I would not know. Like, I am so disconnected from baseball. Like, the most I see is Ohtani's contract on ESPN.
Yeah.
So,
Right, but you gotta think about it. Like what he did going to the Dodgers is like when KD went to the Warriors, in a
Yeah.
sense. Think about how big of a
yeah,
we're
He's
talking
a
about
huge
this
name.
guy's money. We're not even talking about the fact that he picked the Dodgers. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like you don't
Who
hear
has a
a
huge
lot of
fan base. Yeah.
yeah, like you gotta think about like KD when he chose the Warriors, it was like holy shit, like what is
Yeah.
going on? It's more about we're looking at this dude's contract, not about
not even about the team. Yeah,
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. Like narratives kind of get. If it was like LeBron when he went to the Heat, it's the same like
Yeah.
magnitude. So, but how that was, people were burning his jersey, and it's crazy.
yeah.
Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like the reactions were different just
Yeah.
because of where he was going instead of really what the contract or whatever looked like.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. The contract is crazy. But yeah, the Dodgers have a good team. They've been winning the division and they're successful for the most part. But yeah, what does this mean? And the fan base is huge. He's obviously drawing from an Asian uh, market as well. That's huge. So there's a lot of things moving there. But yeah, most of the money is going to be paid when he's retired. You could say
Yeah. Deferred.
after 234, 2034, that is. And it's like, I think the Dodgers are thinking we're not even really paying him. We're going to be making so much more money then. It may not even seem that big then. And then, like you said, Chelsea, after taxes and all that, it's definitely not going to amount to 700. And then also, if he doesn't live in California, then I'm imagining he's going to save a lot of money, So
Right.
it's definitely structured where it favors the Dodgers, and like he's not really. It's not like they're giving him $700 tomorrow. You know what I mean? It sounds like that, but it's like holy mackerel.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of intricacies there, and it's pretty interesting in general. Like wow. And I don't think we have much time to talk about the baseball thing. I think we'll get into that later, especially as you two being African American. I always talk about that. And it's changed a lot since I was a kid. And right before me, maybe like late 70s, early 80s, like high schools all over in the inner city in LA and other cities, the kids played baseball. But that's just like wiped out completely. And we need to talk about that. Why? Because to me, it's killing African American revenue streams, honestly. You're 5'11", 6'1". You ain't going to the NBA. I mean, you're not going to the NBA, dude. Like, and it hurts kids. It hurts kids because, like we've talked about, Ani, we've seen a lot of guys that are a little disgruntled. They're in their early 20s. They might be 6 foot. They might be 6'2". They might be at a JUCO. It's not working out. I need to get a job, coach. I might need to quit. Oh, I got a girlfriend. She wants to get married. Do I really need this? There's a lot of that every day. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, you played baseball in 8th grade. Why'd you give it up? Oh, it's boring. Oh, my homies ain't playing. It's like, it's something we should dig into. Why, talk to maybe some baseball directors. I definitely want to do that in 224 just to bring that to light. Because we're not experts at that and we don't have big opinions, but I think it's an important thing because it's changed a lot in 30 years. Tons. When I was a kid, kids played baseball all over. So Vegas is a big baseball town, Chelsea. But again, it's not too many African American kids, but it's a big baseball town,
Yeah, I follow a little bit like with the Little League World Series. We had a Henderson team that was doing pretty good. So, I follow and see the highlights and stuff on ESPN. I just have no real interest in it otherwise,
Sure. It's pretty interesting dynamic because I think it's hurting a lot of kids, to be honest. You know, the guys who are 5'11" and 6'1", and they have this overbearing idea that they're going to play in the NBA, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is, you know, we see it too much. It hurts too many people. So something we'll jump on in 224, but follow that. And another like hot topic or topic that maybe we should talk about just a little bit before we get into the basketball and what we're going to talk about for the rest of the pod is prospects not playing in the bowl games. I know we've talked about that in the last couple weeks about the NCAA changing, the college football playoff. We kind of mentioned about the Florida State deal, but Ani, real quick about big time guys that are not playing in bowls. Do you think that once we get into a new system where it could be branched off, where the top 60 or 50 teams have their own subdivision, is there even going to be bowls? Is bowls going to be necessary? What are the future of bowls in your opinion?
I think it's definitely maybe not completely eradicated, but it's definitely going to be lesser. And like it's going to be a lot less of them.
Sure.
I think it kind of keeps some bowl games just for its its prestige, right? Like you got to keep a couple of them, but I think for the most part, if they try to keep it around, a lot of those guys, a lot of those on the higher level teams, they're not going to play like a meaningless bowl game. But you're going to have a couple that just stay around just because, of its prestige, just history and all that stuff. You'll get a couple. But I think if it goes the way that we think it's going to go, as far as these subdivisions and stuff, I mean, what's really the point of a bowl game? Those are going to have to be straight like, hey, you play this bowl, we're going to give everybody on your team $50,000. It's going to have to be like some in-season tournament type stuff. Like, there's got to be something kind of tied into financially, kind of maybe if you're going to want players to play, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to have some money surrounded around it for it to make sense. You kind of see, you're kind of seeing in college basketball some, like, those MTE, like, hey, we're going to play this game here because, they're going to give us 100,000. We can split that within our whole team, all our players and stuff like that. So I think that's what you're going to have to see with bowl games in order for it to make some sense. If you want to really keep it around. Gotcha.
My quick thought on that is, like you said, the Cotton Bowl and some of the other ones have been around 80, 100 years. There's interest and fan interest and money involved, so they'll be around. I just think the big thing is, and again, sometimes the play's not good. I haven't been watching as many bowls as I did in the past because they, like you said, players sit out, top players sit out, Heisman finalists sit out, All-Americans, that kind of guys who are going to go in the draft. But I do know from my experience with ESPN and working with them that, a lot of basketball and a lot of other secondary sports are put on the back burner because it's the TV ratings. The bowl season, people are at home eating chips and salsa on their couch, so they watch football bowl. It's still related, Ani, as you said, to TV rights and TV time slots. So that's how it became big over and over the years as TV got bigger and bigger. It's just something people do during the holidays. So not going to completely go away. But yeah, I don't know about the quality of them. I don't know, Chelsea, if you have anything to add. It's definitely TV driven and revenue driven for TV rights.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm just a top player, it's just too high risk for a low reward. So that's the biggest thing. I don't even look at the team aspect. If I'm a top recruit, there's no point in me playing in it. Just truthfully, like, I'm projected to be first round or even, there's so many rounds. Well, how many rounds is there in the freaking NFL draft? 7. Yeah. So like if I'm first, second, third round, what's the point? It's just too risky. Like I can't see it. I think it's going to go away unless Ani said, unless there's some type of money incentive, there's just no reason to do it. It totally, if you're a senior or even junior, you're draft eligible, it's totally a money thing now. Your body, everything is a business. If you're not getting paid to go out there and go to war, then what's the point? You're going to lose everything if you have an injury. So, I see both sides of it, but I just think as an individual, and it just makes me think of on a way lesser scale when I was a player and I'm coming home and I'm not playing a whole bunch of excess basketball because I'm not insured and I'm not getting paid. So, what's the point?
Yeah. And we obviously got notions and reports that some of the top players who may be, top draft picks are not playing in the bowl. In their bowl, North Carolina's quarterback Drake May is not playing in his team's bowl. He's a redshirt sophomore, and he may be one of the top picks along with Caleb Williams, the quarterback at USC, who's not playing in a bowl either.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a trend lately, but I just thought something would be worth topping. But you guys both have good points. I can see with the 12-team playoff, the bowls are going to mean even less. You play in the playoff, you make the playoff, you don't make it. Why am I playing in a bowl? So it's the 12-team playoff. It could be something big, and then maybe the bowls are still tied to those. You have more bowls tied to the playoff, so that may help those bowls. So we'll see what they call those, and how they do that, and it'd be very interesting. And like you said, as college basketball turns upside down, and it's turning upside down right in front of our eyes since when we started this pod, 5 or 6 years ago, it's completely different than what it was then. So
yeah,
it's going to change again. So something to keep an eye on. Obviously, we wanted to get in some of our hot takes on basketball. Ani, just throw something out there. What is it? Ain't got to be nothing. What is it about basketball right now that you want to talk about real quick? And then Chelsea, you may have something, and we'll get into some of the topics that we wanted to hit. What's hot out there, Ani? What's your take?
Ani, don't overthink it, okay? Lakers in-season tournament champs. Hot take. Okay, Ani? Yeah, let's talk about it, because Ani told me the Lakers weren't winning, and I called.
Okay, we're going to talk about the Lakers. Congratulations. LeBron got his 5th ring. Is that what you want?
Yes.
Yeah, he got his 5th ring. It means nothing. He did great. Like, he did a good job, and the Lakers will still lose in the second round of the NBA playoffs this year.
Wow, there you go.
That's my hot take.
That's your hot take?
LA is going to lose in the second round of the NBA playoffs, and AD is going to be non-existent.
Wow. That's his hot take.
That's my hot take.
Chelsea. And guys, just so our viewers know, like,
Nuggets
I
repeat.
didn't put you guys up. I didn't put Ani and or Chelsea up to talk about the Lakers.
Nuggets repeat.
So
LeBron ain't getting his 5th ring.
The Nuggets will not repeat. And, the in-season championship trophy that went to the Lakers was the reemergence of the Brow Anthony Davis, 40 and 20. Okay. This is all he needed. He just needed to be the one. And I know he wasn't the MVP.
He does this
but he was the MVP of that game. So I'm happy.
He does this every now and then and now again. Like, it's not. He's gonna have to be y'all's number one. You realize that? Like,
we would love it.
Like, the way LeBron's playing is great. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he's playing really good. But if he's your number one guy, you're not winning an NBA title. Like, AD ain't never been nobody's number one in an NBA championship team ever.
Yes, and this is gonna be the first time.
How old is he? 31, 32?
Wow.
Yeah, he's like my age. I think he's a little younger.
He's
so yeah, 31.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, probably not. Like, he's really inconsistent offensively, especially in the playoffs, especially when things really hone in on him. I mean, listen, LA probably makes second round conference finals, like, no bullshit, but like, they're not winning no title. Like, it was good that they won. They're doing good. AD had a really good game. AD played the way like how a number one should. He just can't do it every night in and night out. He's shown he can. LA, good team. LeBron ain't getting his 5th ring this year. Jokic getting his 2nd ring. Nuggets repeating.
Wow. No. Wow.
Nuggets repeat. Nuggets are the most complete team in the league.
That's awesome.
Nuggets
my hot take is that it's just a good audition for when the NBA comes to Vegas, which is coming eventually. So
for sure,
we're seeing how that's playing out and what that's going to look like a little bit. And my question for you, Chelsea, this is the question of the year going into 224. Vegas is has the Golden Knights, and it's their team. They love it. And, UNLV hasn't been really that good in basketball. That's kind of their team.
Whoa. UNLV girls are really good. I know you're talking about the boys, but UNLV girls are top 25. Just wanted to shout out my girl, Lindy LaRock.
Come on, Ronnie.
Yeah. So, but this is a Lakers basketball town. So what's going to happen when this NBA team comes? Is everybody just going to switch and transform, or people like the Lakers here? You know, like
we are going to get behind anything Las Vegas. I too like the Lakers, and when we have a team,
Chelsea,
we're going to go all in. My football team is also the Raiders. We go all in. I'm Vegas Knights. I'm Raiders. I'm UNLV Lady Rebels. That's what we do as a town. So yes, to answer your question, we are going all in on the new team. Hopefully 2025 or 2026, whenever it's going to come, and we're just ready. Vegas has been waiting for this moment for us to have a little bit of everything.
Crap. So you guys are going to get off the Lakers bandwagon. This lifelong bandwagon. You guys are going to get off of it.
No, we're still going to have a little bit of Lakers because Bron's going to be the owner. It just shifts over, okay? Bron retired.
Well, he had 4 or 5 or 6 rings by then, Charles. How many rings will you have by then?
We're going to get 2 more before then, Ani, okay? Just hold on. You're jumping the gun, Ani.
We're going all over the place here. So
go ahead.
I mean, when I see the Lakers, when I see teams come here, it's like a Lakers town. I mean, it's a Lakers game, right? I mean, Chelsea, you were there Sunday. It's what did it feel like? Is it like a Lakers home game?
Yeah, it was like a Lakers home game. You're right. There is a really heavy Laker fan base here, but I just feel like, you know, it's easy to be a fan of something else when you don't have your own. And you know, I joke all the time just about, you know, how I love LeBron or whatever, but we've never had a team in Vegas growing up. So I always followed my favorite player. My favorite player was Iverson, and then here comes Bron. So I believe that most people will get on board with Las Vegas having a team just being a local because we've never had it before. So I think that the shift will happen. But yeah, there's going to be people that are diehard Lakers because some people are just more about being with the same team from day one, no matter what. Right. But people like me who are from a place that we've never had a team, then we have no problem getting on board, like we did with the Vegas Knights, like we did with the Aces. We've never had anything. And those teams have huge amounts of support. I mean, Aces games are absolutely crazy, sold out. I know they win too, which, you know, obviously makes a big difference. And so are the Vegas Knights games. Like I have no interest in hockey, but I've been to their playoff games. They're like, you know, they're the real deal.
Yeah. Ani, I know you got something to say about that. What? Holy war. It's going to be like a holy inner war between the Lakers and the new team. Like, what's going on?
Man, look, ain't nobody supporting that Vegas team going losing like the Detroit Pistons, losing 40 plus games in a row. Ain't nobody going to be supporting them in the beginning. They're going to support them when they actually get to about year 3.
Wow.
No one's supporting them. Chelsea, you are not going to be rooting for that team like that when they lose it like the Spurs. When they lose like 20 straight games in a row. Ain't nobody going to be over there. They're all going to travel to LA and watch the Lakers play.
Wait, I have a question. How does NBA expansion work? Because if it works like it did with the Golden Knights in NHL, we won a championship right away as soon as we got a new team.
It ain't going to work like that. You're going to have a draft. It's kind of weird. Like how each team in the NBA is going to select
their players,
guys with expiring contracts, whatever, who's eligible for that draft.
Okay.
And then you gotta draft guys from the expansion draft. Then you're also going to have the NBA draft, right? Yeah. So let's say, for example, you're the Vegas team and you go in 225, right? Okay, if let's say you get Cooper Flag, who would be let's say you get the number 1 pick, you get Cooper Flag. That's a good start. Let's say you don't get Cooper Flag, then you got to go get guys for the expansion draft. You're going to be losing for quite some time until you actually can be competent and be a decent team.
3 years. 3 years we'll be all right.
I will say this about the Vegas squad. I feel like whatever they do, they're going to hire the best. They're going to try to hire the best scouts. They're going to hire the best. Yeah. Like they're going to pay.
They're going to try to win, right? They're going to try to win.
I'm already hearing it from teams because, you know, there's other, like, you know, they got Seattle potential that could open up to 25. I'm hearing there are guys that are scouts, front office guys that are waiting for these expansions to come out that are really good. Like, I think the personnel will be good enough where I think it'll be a 3-year process where they could potentially be a playing team and win. All I'm saying is I don't see people that are diehard Laker fans that are in Vegas really supporting it till they actually see them winning some.
Interesting take.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're going to have those small group of diehards that are just going to stale like the Lakers. Yeah. And most in the town are going to jump over, Ani. Mm-hmm. And then when they
away,
Yeah, because they're gonna. It's a golden night kind of thing. They're gonna just support it because Vegas is always like a bastard to other big cities, and they want to be known for their own. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah,
I
yeah. They
agree.
kind
Y'all
of
gonna watch that team lose 20 games in a row.
No, that would not happen. It's not happening.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. So we'll get to that a little later in the show. But on Ani's point, let's talk a little bit about the NBA and that. And I don't really want to talk about the Pistons too much about their player or anything like that. But
Please.
yeah, they've lost 44 of 48 since the trade deadline. They're on a 20. They're as we do this pod, they've lost 20 in a row. When they didn't get Magic Johnson in the draft back in 79, 80, they lost 21 in a row that year when they were just sad that Magic was with the Lakers. So the question I have, and I'll start with you, Chelsea, like, we talk about some of these young players, the Thompson twins, Cade Cunningham. Are some of these teams too young? Does that hurt the NBA? And then the second question, and Johnny, you could jump in there, like, coaching. Monty Williams, he did a great job in Phoenix. Is it how big a difference does it make? Is it just patience? Have patience, he'll turn it around, or is it like his value or his pedigree overstated a bit?
I mean, I definitely think that the team is young, and that to be a formidable team in the NBA, you have to have solid vets. Like, I think you just can't, go anywhere if you don't have good vets. And we saw that with Houston previously when their team was just too young, silly, immature, like not going to win anything for real. But in this scenario, honestly, I'm just disappointed in Monty Williams. Like, I thought that he was a good coach with Phoenix, but sometimes it's hard to tell because when you're surrounded by a lot of talent, like, you don't really know. But he had a weird thing with DeAndre Ayton in Phoenix, and now he has a weird thing with Jaden Ivey. So I'm starting to think it's a little bit of him. And, I don't know the situation, but somebody that's on the outside looking in, if I have anything to do with that management, I want my top draft pick in Jaden Ivey to be playing and to be developing if we're going to be losing all these games. There's so many games where he's like a non-factor in terms of minutes, in terms of everything. So I don't really understand the direction. I feel like they have good, solid young pieces. Cade is a really good player. Thompson twin, good player. Wiseman, like, they have young pieces that, if you get the right combination of vets, they can be decent. No, they're not going to make the playoffs. And no, they're Ani's laughing at me. But no team needs to be losing 44 of 48 games, Ani. That's absolutely ridiculous. At some point, you have to look at the coach. This is still an NBA team. That team should not be that bad. They should not.
Ani.
Go ahead, Ani.
You got something you want to say? Did we lose Ani on the audio?
I don't know. He's laughing.
He's muted, maybe.
Yeah, my bad. I was coughing,
go
guys.
Go ahead.
I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you laughing. What you have to say?
First, like you said, James Wiseman, he's awful.
Okay, I'm just saying they have young people.
He's awful. But yes, you're right. I agree with you. Monty Williams has not done the greatest of jobs with this group. I think Jaden Ivey especially could be used better. One thing I was kind of surprised with this team, I think this team could play a lot faster, especially with Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham. I know Cade is playing more, so I think they're trying to figure out how to play them two together more. Ozar Thompson has obviously done a really good job, averaging at the time he's averaging double-digit rebounds. I think that's probably not the case anymore. Let's see. He's still averaging about 8 rebounds a game, which is still pretty impressive, but his lack of shooting does hurt. Cade has become a pretty dependable shooter, but Ivey's not a great perimeter shooter. Killian Hayes isn't the most dependable of shooters as well. So they don't have really good spacing. Then you got Jalen Duran, who's a good player, but with the kind of lack of floor spacing you got on that team, you can't, he doesn't really help because he's like a lob threat guy, dunker spot. Then you got Isaiah Stewart, who's trying to stretch the floor, but you don't really want him really shooting like that. I just think they got a bunch of young pieces, but they don't fit together well. I think they need more shooting. I think I agree with you, Chelsea. Like, they need more veteran leadership. I think Marvin Bagley does a pretty decent job. He's actually been doing pretty solid. But I think they're just a bad constructed team. Like, I don't know what their identity is. I don't think Monty has done a great job of showing or establishing what their identity is. You know what I mean? Like, Jaden and Cade look kind of awkward when I've watched a few games. They look kind of awkward on the court together. And that's why you see Jaden's only started about 6 games this season. But I think you can play them together. I just think you pick up the pace. I think you can kind of be more creative into your offenses. I think there's both the two guards that can really exploit, guys that switch and positional mismatches. But we just haven't seen enough of that. And I just think like playing this Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren type lineups right now, it doesn't really do it. It's not really great either. I think they need to obviously make a trade. They need to get older, but they need to add more pieces to kind of space the floor. You got guys that kind of do the same thing, and you're never going to get the max amount like of one player because you got 2 guys on the court that do the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Like there just needs to be more of a balance.
Gotcha. Now you guys have some strong opinions there. That's interesting, and because I wanted to touch on that point. Like you said, Chelsea, he's thought of as a highly regarded coach. Then Phoenix kind of bombs out at the end. They don't really have seems like chemistry with some of their guys. They obviously had good players, and they did make it to a final, but then they kind of bottomed out, and Dallas really put it on, or Dallas really just exposed them in that last series. And then so that really leads to my next question. Now we talk about coaching because he's been coach of the year. The Spurs are in the same boat. Popovich, like, what does this do to Popovich? He's obviously won 5 titles, but like, did he just get blessed with great timing and great players, or like, is he just in a tough situation? Because, I mean, they can't win any games either. But he's supposed to be the cream of the cream coach, one of the 5 or 6 best ever in the history of the game. So, what are we talking about here with coaching? I'm open to it. I don't have as strong opinions as you guys. I just think it's a players' league, and you give me Duncan and you give me Robinson, and I'll win some games too. But maybe you guys have a different opinion.
Well, the Spurs, I mean, Jeremy Sohan's playing point guard. I mean, you're not going to win any game.
Sohan's playing point guard.
I mean,
kid from Baylor?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, I know why the Spurs are losing. You have to say nothing else. I get it.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
He's playing point guard.
Okay, so I agree with that, Ani, but at the same time, this makes me think about I personally, as amazing as Pop is, I think his time has come and gone. And I know people don't like to say that about legends, but I personally believe that. And the reason I believe it too is a comment that Steve Kerr made when he was talking about how Pop is rejuvenated now that he's got Wemby. Okay, so when he didn't have Wemby the last 5 years, what was he? Old, washed, and not coaching anymore? Like, that just means the point that, like, he needed that for him to want to coach again, which lets me know that he shouldn't be coaching anymore. And that doesn't take away from his talent. But I'm just saying, if you have to be boosted or rejuvenated in anything, Ronnie, that means presently you're not in it. Correct. So I just think that Pop, as amazing as he is, and I will never downplay his coaching ability, like, his time has come and gone. Please pass the torch. If people are saying you need to be rejuvenated by it, then that just means your heart's not in it anymore. And that's okay. He's, old man, move on, go retire right off into the sunset. We'll love you forever, and we appreciate what you did for the NBA.
Yes. And Ani, you may have a little insight to this because you have your guys in San Antonio. Are the fan base now? They're gonna love this guy. He's gonna have his loyal guys, just like any other loyal fan base. But are like some of the people like on the inside, or the diehard Spurs fans saying like, okay, we need a new coach. We need to try something different. We got the player we need. Obviously they need to get better talent, especially if Sohan's playing point guard. But do they need it internally? Like, the fans saying like maybe it's time for this guy to move on to Chelsea?
I think it's kind of growing some. I do agree with Chelsea when someone says they had to get rejuvenated. It does mean that at one point they weren't as motivated to really coach the group. I know not having really, really good players can be. I mean, I can tell y'all that's real. But it's kind of growing. I think people are kind of giving Pop a chance because it's like, okay, because he's won so much, because he's a really good coach, this Sohan experiment, maybe he sees something down the line that makes some sense that we can't see, right? Obviously, you can go trade Jones and it solves a decent amount of issues, but maybe he doesn't see Trey Jones as someone like on a playoff contending team, but he sees someone like Sohan in that, and maybe Sohan doesn't ultimately become the point. Maybe he's trying to develop a certain skill out of him I don't want to think that he's tanking because no offense to 24, who are you tanking for in this class?
Who you tanking for?
But it's kind of some rumblings. It's not as bad because everyone knows in San Antonio, everyone knows Pop is a genius of a basketball coach. I think if you ask me this time next year and they're 3-20, whatever the hell they are, people are gonna be like, Pop need to go. Like, Pop.
So they're gonna give this year, basically.
They'll give this year. They'll give this year. But it's really interesting, like kind of what the Spurs kind of do next, because I know we're going a little different topic, but with Wemby, my opinion has always been like his prime is closer to in the 20s than it is when you talk about like regular guys is like 28, 29, 30, 31. Like I think you need to try to contend earlier than later.
I agree.
So it'll be interesting to see what pieces they put together and how that team is constructed about 2-3 years from now.
Yeah, it is an interesting dynamic because, like you said, it's not like there's a 3 or 4 wow prospects coming in this draft. They're gonna have to make some moves. So Chelsea, Murray, who went down to play with Trae Young, is that a huge big loss, or just their talent level is just not there?
I mean, I think Murray and Wemby could have been something, but you can't predict the future. When they traded, Murray, they didn't know that they were going to get Wemby.
Sure.
And the NBA is just tough, man. You got to have pieces, and you have to have really good pieces to be a formidable team. Like, that's what I was saying, and I think we've talked about it before. Just like getting Wemby doesn't mean your team is going to win. We all were like, what the hell? This team's going to win 5 more games. And at this rate, they're not even going to win the same amount of games that they won last year. Yeah. Like the NBA is hard. You have to be really good. But I just didn't like, and I don't know, Steve Kerr, may talk to Popovich all the time. I don't know. But just that comment made me think like, if I have to be rejuvenated, then I'm really not in it anymore. So I think that he personally needs to go. And I think that the Spurs are several pieces away from being formidable.
Several.
And they're just not good. And so, if we're going to really, or if the league is going to really capitalize on Wemby like they like to do with players and all the hype and stuff that came in with him, like they got to win something, because otherwise we don't want to see it. We don't. Like,
let me ask you this, Ani. I'll put you on the spot a little bit. And we talked about it with Felipe Lopez, and I talked to you guys about how St. John's wasn't going to work there. It wasn't going to work for him. I kind of knew it wasn't going to work. I thought I saw some internal jealousy. Do you think that there's some guys on that team that are just jealous of him and they don't care if they win, or they're just not good enough? When I first saw the first few games, I thought some guys were purposely, I was like, why are they not giving this dude the ball? And then I was like, this team's terrible. And I didn't want to watch them much no more. I was I knew they were going to be terrible.
I think
terrible chemistry.
I think there could be that. Yeah. I really believe a lot of them could not make those passes because they've never played with anybody like that.
Sure. Okay.
As crazy as it sounds, he's 7'4" with the 8-foot wingspan. Just know that. But I don't think they know where throw it up looks like. You know what I mean? So
Everything's not there for sure.
And then another thing, I think you got some guys with some bad feel. That's why they're a bad team, because you got 3-on-1 opportunities, and hey, I'm going to try to shoot a pull-up midi or 3, and I got the 7'4" guy, and there's a 6'4" point guard underneath the rim. You know what I'm saying? Like, bad decision making. I think that's part. There could be some jealousy that I want to say no, because I'm like, all right, like that's stupid. Like y'all will get traded before him. It's like the LeBron team with the Cavs. Like all y'all will be gone, and he will still be around. Like,
of course,
I just think it's just low feel. Watching the Spurs play, I see them give up a lot of leads late in the fourth, 10, 12, 14-point leads, and just give it up because they don't play no more defense. I think they use Wemby too perimeter centric sometimes, and where they could get some more paint touches with him, which could get him in the foul line later in the games or give him easier shots. Instead, he's kind of taking DHOs with late in the game and shooting step back threes, which is very ill-advised. Or Keldon Johnson is trying to bully his way to the rim. Like, I don't think they're jealous. I just think they're just low feel guys that don't know how to win and finish NBA games yet.
Okay, that's more fair than what I was saying, because the situation I was talking about with Felipe was a college situation, so it's a little different. So especially back then, I understand what you're saying. So that's fair.
They need to get traded.
Say that again.
Them guys need to get traded.
Yeah, some of them need to get traded for sure. They need to shake it up for sure, whether it's coaching and or personnel. So we'll follow that. And as we get ready to close this out, and on the back end of the show, we want to have a little bit more fun. As I said, we're not going to be on for another pod this year just because of the way that the tournament schedules go and travel and whatnot. But we definitely want to make some predictions. I think we got some of those predictions earlier in. You guys were kind of having a joke, and we want to have some final exam for 223 predictions. Boy, predictions. So I guess we'll go around the horn. I guess Ani, we already heard yours. We'll just start with yours. NBA title for 224 NBA. We already got yours. Are you just sticking with that? And why? Is just at the end of the game, Denver's 3 games back right now in the West? It's not going to matter.
Ain't gonna matter.
Yeah,
that they're the most complete team. I think Denver, as far as front court pieces, back court pieces, and depth, are just the best team. And their guy, Jokic, at the end of the day, is a beast. And Murray's going to come up playoff time. I just think they got too many pieces. Now, the only reason I don't see them win is if Michael Porter wants to shoot 20 shots a game.
Which he does.
He does. He wants to go, be a superhero and be unconscious for some reason and just shoot a bunch of crazy shots. Which, hopefully the volume of that is lower. But other than that, I just think Denver has too much depth.
Okay. That was my team in predicting as well. Even though they're 3 games back, I just think they will. At the end of the day, they have the experience and they have the best player in the playoff experience. And I don't see a team beating them until I see them beat them. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go with it's that simple. I don't think it's too cut and dry. Chelsea, your final analysis for
you guys already know my team, but I'm going to pick a different team, and I'm going to go to the
team. I know who she's going to pick.
I'm going to the East, and I'm going to say Boston then, because if you want to talk about a team with depth and pieces, they have it. Now, if we could get some consistency between Jaylen Brown, because I feel like he's the one that's kind of so up and down. Porzingis has been absolutely amazing. I listened to one of his post-game interviews, and he just talked about the comfortability that he has being the third option. And he has totally just kind of reinvented himself this season. He's been exceptional. Jason Tatum's the guy. He needs to make a jump. It's time for him to win a championship now. Like, if he's going to make that next, leap into superstardom or whatever you want to call it, then it's time. So he's going to need to carry a team to a championship. Jaylen Brown, who just got a 300 million gazillion contract like Ohtani, needs to produce and show us why we paid him. So therefore, I'm going to say Boston. You guys know my real team, but I'm just saying Boston for the sake of a team that I believe has a legitimate chance of winning.
Yeah. Got you. Ohtani's like, Jaylen Brown. Ohtani's just killing it. Yeah, that guy just killing it. So Chelsea, to follow up question, why is Boston better than last year? What is it, the Porzingis factor, or is there something else, or is it just they're ready and it's their time?
I mean, it's their time, but it's also Porzingis and Drew Holiday. I mean, love Marcus Smart to death and what he brings to the table as a defensive presence and stuff, but he's not Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday gives you defense and he gives you 20 points on offense too consistently. So, upgrade there for sure. And Porzingis is just, to me, it looks like he likes playing basketball again. Right. He hasn't felt, which just makes a huge difference. And I know that as a player, sometimes you have a down season because you're just miserable and you hate it. He's happy. And the happiness has translated to production. So, Ani's talking about depth. They have guys too. Like Derek White, very formidable piece. Like they have pieces and they have the team to win a championship. Now, will they win a championship? I don't know, because I really believe that the first one is the hardest. And that's kind of what Jason Tatum and them are, struggling with right now, just trying to get in there. Denver, I think, has an excellent chance. It's difficult to repeat, but I think once you've done it and you know how to do it, then you know how to do it again. So I do agree with you guys in terms of just Denver being ready. But I think this, this could really be Boston's year. And, I wish it was the Lakers' year. I always wish that. But if, we're going to just talk facts and who's formidable and who's ready, I think Boston's got to be in the conversation.
For sure.
Gotcha. Great. Good stuff there. We'll see how that plays out. We're going to come back to this pod in about 5 months and see who's coming out right. So something a little harder to predict. And maybe you could just say who you maybe could make a run or get into the Final Four or final is in the NCAA side. Chelsea, I'll start with you, then Ani. Any prediction on a champ or a team that can make a Final Four run?
Yeah. Well, NCAA is always just wide open, regardless of who's ranked and stuff like that. Anybody can win. But a team that I got a chance to watch that I really like that I think has a legit chance is Shaka Smart and Marquette. I know it's a top 10 team. I don't know if many of our, viewers or followers had a chance to watch them, but they really get after it defensively. And I think that defense can carry you a long way. I don't know if they could always make enough shots. I've seen a couple of games where, they're really struggling to fill it up. But I feel like if we're not scoring and you can keep the other team from scoring, then you're going to have a chance. So obviously they're a top 10 team. They played some really good games. But I just like what Shaka's doing over there. He had his little stint at Texas that wasn't great. And now it seems like he's recruiting guys that fit how he likes to play. Scrappy, get after it. And I always think a team with a dog mentality has a chance. So that's my sleeper pick to win a national championship this year.
Wow. Nice. What are we following that? Ani.
I would say my sleeper pick, if I had a sleeper pick, it would be Virginia.
Okay.
The way they really defend, they get after it. Both are, they got a lot of long wing forward guys that can, kind of switch, defend, and can make shots. It's not the sexiest brand of basketball that they play, but I do believe that they just are very productive, and I just really like how they defend. They remind me a little bit of how San Diego State was last year, just a little bit. It's just that grinded Tony Bennett style team that he's won a lot of games and made deep runs with. And I definitely think like teams like that can really defend, and can provide enough offense, especially when it comes to tournament time win. I mean, you got for me, U of H. I think the Big 12 is just going to be crazy. You talk about U of H, you got Texas, you got even TCU, who lost a close one to Clemson. That's really good. I mean, Baylor, Oklahoma's 9-0 right now. So it's a loaded group. Kansas, Kansas is number 2 right now. You want me to give my opinion? I think this is the best group I've seen of U of H. I think it's U of H or Kansas, but I think my sleeper team to win it all or really make a deep run, I think it's Virginia. I think Virginia, they're older, can make shots, really defend and switch. We seen that out of UConn last year. We seen that out of teams that make the Final Four, the teams that can really get out there and defend and are older.
Yeah. Wow. Those are good picks. It's funny, Ani, and I'll tell the viewers, we didn't discuss this. We didn't prep nothing. And you picked some of the ones I like for the Final Four. Blue blood type of schools is Kansas and Houston. I just think they'll have a chance. It's not a big surprise, but they still got to do it, so I think they have a chance. I really do think that. Pretty interesting that you said those two. I'm not going to pick anything out on a limb. Ani, the question I have for you, are we going to go to the final Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas? Are we going to boycott it?
We're going to boycott? No, I'm there.
I'm going to boycott and stand outside.
I ain't boycotting. I'm going to be there.
Wow. Okay.
If you boycott, I'll boycott. We're going to boycott it. I'll boycott it. I'll be a follower. I ain't going to be no leader, but
That would be March 13th to 16th conference championship week. I guess I'm sure I'll be going, but I ain't going to be too happy about that. It'll be like, good Lord, these guys, who messed that up. I can't stand their logo no more. I can't stand the guy on the mic. I'm just like, I just can't stand it no more.
Chelsea, listen, I'm in the group text with him, Dino, all the death of the Pac-12 is very hard on them right now.
It's a good conference, man. I understand.
Yeah, it's just we're gonna have a pod about that. So we might rant for like 2 hours on that one, but not tonight. So yeah, this has been good stuff. And as we close out, again, go check out the Fab 50. We have 13 newcomers this week on ballslife.com. I'll try to do one more before the new year. Obviously, we'll see you guys in 224. Thank you again for listening in. But last thing is, and it don't have to be 3. I was thinking 3, maybe just one. What athlete are you guys looking forward to seeing in 224? You're looking forward to it, and you just want to see it because we all have great memories. Time goes on. All we're gonna have is the end of the day is memories. We're gonna we have a job, we change jobs, things change, but our memories are gonna be there. I guess I'll start with you, Ani. What athlete or a couple, if you have a couple, what athlete do you want to see in 224 you're looking forward to?
Man, I have one. I had to really think about that one.
Yeah.
De'Aaron Fox.
Okay. That's awesome for him.
I think this is a big year for him. I think, even though that Kings team, maybe from a playoff standpoint, especially Sabonis at center, can be maybe a little goofy. But I think he really takes that leap to like that superstardom type. I think he has all the tools. I think he has the makeup. I think he's someone that can really make that leap. And I would say the second person would be Tyrese Halliburton. He's another one. That second half of the year is going to be that playoff time, right? So now seeing can he, I believe the Pacers will make the playoffs.
Yeah.
What is he going to do there? What does it look like when can he kind of make that jump? Can he make a conference finals run with the Pacers? Yeah. And he, get into a game 7 loss with them in the second round, something like that. I just think those are the athletes I want to see just kind of make that jump into, young all-star. Yeah, he got, he can be the face of the league now. It's like, okay, their time's coming sooner rather than later. You know what I mean? Like where they are the face. And, with LeBron older, all these guys are kind of aging and stuff. It's like, who is next?
Sure.
Who is next? And I think when you got guys like De'Aaron and Tyrese Halliburton, I'm not saying they're the next LeBron James by any stretch of imagination, but I do think they're guys that when you say the NBA, you immediately say them. And I think they have a chance in 224 to really put their name in that type of conversation.
That's good. That's thoughtful. Chelsea?
I like those names. They're on my short list, but you got De'Aaron and Tyrese. Well, I raise you SGA. You want to talk about the time is now? This kid is must-see TV. Yeah. Like I really enjoy watching him. There's nothing he can't do. He's fun to watch. OKC is a really just fun, exciting team. They get up and down. They score points like crazy. And SGA, he's the head of the snake. So, I can see him doing the very same things he just talked about with Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. And I think he will.
100%.
Got it. Yeah, those are great picks, guys. I'm thinking along the lines of, I want to see, and this is what I want to see because again, I'm talking about something of great indelible memory. So again, for Fox, it would have to be maybe a great big playoff game, right? Right, some clinching game, and for SGA, probably getting them to the finals or at least getting them to the conference finals or having some monster conference, averaging 35 points or something. So for me, just to watch, I think I want to watch Chet Holmgren play against Wemby. I just want to watch those two guys go at it. I like the big guys. I like the centers. It's something like, I guess it's something like watching, Patrick Ewing versus Akeem or something like that. You don't see that much no more. And you really didn't see it in the Shaq days because Shaq just dominated. So like when Shaq was young, there was 3 or 4 or 5, 6 guys that went at it, and it was really awesome to watch. So I definitely want to go to one of their games. I don't know, Ani, we're gonna have to go to OKC or San Antonio. You can
go to either one. I get tickets for either. So
I know we got some people and colleagues in those teams. So I like to watch those guys and just see how great they are. And like if Chet is part of, obviously Chet's in a better situation in terms of team, but maybe he has like a big monster playoff for them that makes a big difference. So that's what I'm looking forward to 224. And I'll say this on another note is gearing up long term is for high school. we talk about like the top guys in the EYBLS and things like that. I would like to see a hometown star just be a huge name. I don't know if that's gonna happen in 224, but maybe down the line, like a guy who just doesn't need the to move to a prep school, or doesn't need that because it just works out good for him, like DJ Wagner, where he just stayed at Camden.
Yeah,
I like to see a guy like a small town guy or from a small state. It just is awesome. I don't know, Ani. I don't know if there's anybody out there like that right now in the high school ranks. I don't see that. I see guys that are like player sons, or they're already well known, like Brandon McCoy or Taj Ariza or Black's younger brother at Duncanville. They have some ties already.
Right.
I just don't see a guy who's just like a small town hero right now. Maybe there will be.
Yeah, I think those guys they're just late bloomer types.
Yeah.
You'll probably see them maybe junior, senior year.
Yeah,
that 226 class got a lot of like intriguing
players.
Positional profile like guys that maybe one of them kind of shake out. I can see it maybe next 2-3 years.
Got it. And then one last question, and we'll wrap up, and we'll be out of here. What is going to be the biggest sports story in 224? Ooh. Chelsea, real quick, and then Ani, real quick. What's the biggest sports story? Just what's going to catch our imagination?
Biggest sports story.
Yeah.
Biggest sports story in 2024 is going to be Caitlin Clark of the Iowa Hawkeyes #1 pick WNBA. Wow. Because a lot of people don't know about the WNBA, but they know about Caitlin Clark. So I feel like the emergence of her and her being a #1 pick is going to be really good for the league. And I think it's going to be a big story, at least for the WNBA.
Yeah.
That is a big story. #1. That is a big story.
Yeah, she's going. And Indiana just got the pick. They just did the WNBA draft lottery the other day. It's going to be Indiana, Sparks, Phoenix.
Was that because based on they were the weakest team, or is that?
I mean, it's still lottery, so they still do the
nearest team to Iowa.
Everybody was thinking that she was going to go Phoenix and be the next, Diana Taurasi, who will never retire. So how could he be the next of somebody who just never leaves? But it ended up being Indiana who got the #1 pick, and Phoenix, and LA Sparks getting #2. Phoenix was the third. So Caitlin Clark, 2024, look out for her.
Wow. Ani, biggest thing in 224.
I think it's just going to evolve around like players and NIL.
That's just going to be the big thing, like the NCAA, NIL.
If it's going to be like a lawsuit thing, I don't know if it's going to be like or there's going to be more money pumped into these collectives, and it's just nuts, right?
It's just going to be nuts, yeah.
But I feel like NIL in sports is going to be the biggest thing, going to be the biggest story we're gonna hear.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, we talk about that indirectly, even directly. Sometimes when we don't even want to talk about that comes up. So that's I think for me, I think Bronny declaring for the NBA draft is gonna be
wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just gonna be, even if I don't really understand it completely, and we don't have time, but it's just going to be a huge story. It is. It's already a huge story.
You're right. You ain't lying. Lying.
Just so those are big stories. I think Caitlin Clark is going to be a big deal. Sabrina, I already hear people saying like Sabrina Ionescu has the nicest shoe in the game. I'm like, what? Like,
she really does.
Like the hottest shoe. I'm like, dang, this is, she's not the hottest player per se, but I'm like, dang. Yeah, and it's
nice. I ain't gonna lie.
It is what it is. So, yeah, those three things. I think all those three things tie together because it goes to endorsements. What kind of endorsements she gonna get? Then you have the NIL for college and high school, and then like Bronny's like the poster child for NIL and just, I guess, big name. It's just, so we're gonna follow it. But thank you guys for tuning in to this episode 174. We made some predictions. We're gonna come back and revisit these. But for now, we're going to get out of here. We really appreciate you guys. And we're not just saying that. We really appreciate all you guys listening in all the time and going through, all our episodes. Go back and check out some of them. Some of them are timeless. Obviously, some of you can only listen to the week of. But until next time, we're out of here. See you in 224.
Peace out.